Rounds 3 and 4 of the Connaught Competition Engines Irish Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2012 were co-hosted by the Clare and Galway motor clubs over the weekend of the 14th and 15th of April. The first day was up the tortuous Corkscrew hill and the second was along the giant Ballyallaban. After Sylvie Mullins' tremendous start to the championship a fortnight earlier in Wexford, where he won the opening rounds of the series, reigning champion Simon McKinley could expect Mullins on his home ground to continue to turn the screws on him. McKinley showed his hand early on run 1 with what would be his fastest time of the day, a 48.39. Sylvie put down a 49.92 on run 1, but this would prove to be his only competitive run on the day as his gearbox broke on run 2. A marathon effort to repair it saw him back out on run 5, but he hit further problems. McKinley clocked in a further 3 times within 3/10 of his first run, once again showing his remarkable consistency. He then treated the spectators to a sideways victory lap on run 5. Ray Cunningham chose to start his class championship campaign here on his home event. 2 wins in Class 1 sponsored by the Daly family and a dazzling 8th overall on Ballyallaban should put him in contention as the points add up during the year. Drivers will count their best 8 scores from this year's 12 rounds for their final score. Elaine O'Reilly was second of the mini triplet at the head of this class on Corkscrew, while Trish Daly, who was lucky to get away with this on run 1, was third. It was the other way round on Sunday, however, with Trish second and Elaine third. This was enough for O'Reilly to extend her championship lead by a point from Daly, who leapt from 5th to 2nd position after the weekend. Brendan Dawson in his Honda Civic held off Neil Bradbury in the Cinquecento on round 3, but Neil turned the tables on him on round 4 to maintain his strong third position in the class with the 1100cc Fiat. A massive effort was put into the McKinley Cinquecento to get it running on Saturday morning, after it went on fire the night before the event. Neil Bradbury and several others helped Aidan Courtney and Senan O'Connor to graft a wiring loom into the car. They got it to run for Senan on Saturday, but with the ECU in safe mode he was restricted to 4,500 RPM. Aidan decided not to run on Sunday after a late night effort failed to persuade the car to run faster. Ben O'Brien was 7th in a borrowed Skoda Felicia on Saturday and successfully completed his mission to upgrade his licence when he finished 6th on Sunday. More power beckons for him. Declan Cundlin was on his own in Class 2 sponsored by the Galway Motor Club, but had a mighty battle for rear-wheel drive saloon supremacy with Dennis Hogan of 3B in the BMW M3. Dennis was fastest by just over 2/10 on run 1. Declan then brought the time down by over a second on run 2, but then Hogan bettered that by 3/10 on run 3 and a half a second on run 5 to win the tussle. Dennis was 3rd in Class 3B, sponsored by the Donegal Motor Club, behind brother-in-law Éanna Carroll on Saturday. Éanna looking more in control with the new steering geometry and 17-inch wheels on the car. Éanna busted driveshaft on Sunday, producing CV rings from his Civic, which must have given him the idea to get engaged when he got home. Congratulations to him and Steffi. He double drove Dennis's car on Sunday and finished 3rd behind Hogan, who proved his affinity with his own car. Rory Stevens was delighted to win the class both days after having trouble on the second day back in Wexford. He was also 6th and 5th overall in the Burren. Ian Quinn continues to make Class 3A, sponsored by Quinn Motorsport, his own. He scored very highly overall at the weekend, 14th on the first day and 12th on the second in the Mini Busa. John Whitley joined him this weekend for 2 second places in the class and was very lucky to get away with this at the top of Ballyallaban. Frank Nuttall made a welcome return to the championship in his 1955 Graham in Class 4, sponsored by the Motor Enthusiast Club. He was the winner of the class, calculated by handicap, on Saturday. Second that day was Sean Murray in the Lotus Elan. Third was Mick O'Shea in the MGB GT. He was also fastest on scratch times both days. Fourth was Barry Smith in the Mark 1 Escort. The handicap went his way on Sunday, so he took maximum points then. Mick was second with Frank third this time, followed by Sean fourth. Great to see such historic cars on such an historic hill climb. In the Wexford Motor Club sponsored Class 5, Enda Kennedy was fastest up Corkscrew, chased by Gerard O'Connor sharing the same car. Enda was the sole registered driver in the class on Sunday, and Julie took maximum points again. In Class 8, sponsored by the Carlow Motor Club, Patrick Haughey in the Mark 2 Escort and Georgie Bell in the Honda Civic returned and continued where they left off last season, with points for 1st and 2nd apiece, both days. Joe Courtney was the sensation of Class 6, sponsored by Carnew Tyre Centre on Saturday. Not only did he win the class, but he was second overall from Paul O'Connell in Class 7, who rapidly put the squeeze on Courtney when he finally got his car going on run 3. It went down to the final 5th run for these two and stayed in Courtney's favour by 7/100ths of a second. Courtney decided to preserve his OMS on Sunday and drove the Cento instead. O'Connell was second, behind McKinley on Corkscrew in Class 7 sponsored by Crocora Mills. John Burren was second on the Saturday in Class 6 and won the class on Sunday, with his overall points now adding up to 4th in the championship. John Mahon was third and second in the class, moving him into second in that class battle. Deirdre Delaney was 4th and 3rd, and that moved her up to 3rd in the class points, with Courtney not scoring on Sunday. Brendan Harper continued his run of 5th places in Class 7, keeping him in that position in the class as well. Dermot Nolan was 4th in the class both days, but brought his own opposition with him in the form of championship sponsor Phil Price. Dr. Phil was just over a second behind Nolan on Corkscrew in 9th overall, behind Dermot's 7th place, with John Mahon between them. They were remarkably close together on Sunday, despite problems. 17th and 18th overall, with Dermot breaking 2nd gear and Phil breaking 4th. Mullins was 3rd in Class 7 on Saturday, and top 3 positions for this class were the same as the top 3 overall on Sunday. Paul O'Connell was 3rd, still with some electrical gremlins. On run 2 he pulled over at the car park halfway, for fear he'd hold up Mullins. Sylvie was fastest on run 1 by 8/100ths from Simon, but got progressively slower over the remaining 2 runs. Simon McKinley did the job on run 2, by a margin of 1.59 seconds. If you've ever wondered what 2.2 miles of one of the twistiest, bumpiest roads in Ireland looks like, covered in 93.69 seconds, here's McKinley's winning run up Ballyallaban. The action continues in County Dublin in May. See irishhillclimb.com for more details.